AT6 today. Alright, we're going to be covering, we'll just go quickly through some WHS. So as we all know, we go out for prac and things today that we need to be mindful of the bike track. We know all the assembly areas in case of emergency. Looking at environmental factors today, none really. Over's a pretty good condition, but we do get the participants to use their boots today. Just going to go through some learning outcomes quickly. Okay, so we're going to look at developing a document for sport-specific programs today. We're looking at communication to confirm participants' understanding of sport-specific programs. We're going to present a sequence of sport-paced program activities. We're going to really look at focusing on your communication style today as well. Use some monitor sport-specific programs to identify and address risks to participant safety, monitor participants and identify poor behaviour. So pretty much everything that we've been doing over the last 5 weeks, we're going to be looking at doing during practical today. Firstly, what we're going to look at, and we've just got a few things on the board here, roles and responsibilities of either coaches and officials, like at a sporting competition. So the first area we're going to look at today is different roles and responsibilities, and we're going to look at, I'm going to get you guys to brainstorm who you think is in charge of these specific roles and responsibilities during competition day. So I've just got on the tables there, if you want to use the whiteboards, and we'll just go through the first one. So strategies and tactics. So who do you guys think will sort of be in charge of that on the day, competition day? Yep.
Yeah, coaches.
So just write down your answers and then we'll go through together.
Wait, is this for the roles?
Yeah. So these are all your roles and responsibilities here. So these 5, and it's either the responsibility or the role of the coach or an official. So I want you guys to figure it out for me together, just who is in charge of those specific roles and responsibilities on a sort of competition day or a match day. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then we'll go through it together. We'll just explain why there's certain people are in charge of that. Yeah, cool. Just on that, Liana, it can be one or it can be both as well, so that's fine.
Depends on the
Yeah.
whatever.
It's important as well that each of these roles and responsibilities are adhered to by the correct people as well. So the role and effect of that is, you know, if you're a coach and you feel like you have to be across all of those, that makes your competition day pretty hectic. It makes it pretty full on. Like when you're trying to coach on specific areas that you or roles and responsibilities that you know you need to be across. You know, if other officials or other coaches aren't playing their role in addressing those different things, it makes your day pretty full on because you're running around trying to do everything. I've been in those situations before where, you know, I'm trying to find team managers, I'm trying to find boundary umpires, I'm trying to find like all these people, and I'm trying to coach and get my team prepared and ready for game day, and it's like it adds a lot of stress to your day as well. So you strategy and tactics, who do you think is responsible for that?
Yeah,
Coach?
coach.
Enforcing rules.
Yes.
A coach is always enforce rules in the team, but officials just do general.
Yep. Yep, good. Tick both of those. Injury prevention. Yep.
Yeah, right, because officials, like, if it's like guys like the or if a player's in the field, it's their job to get them off and make sure they're fine. But as a coach, also their job to like make sure the players understand when it's time to break and if they can come out and like tell them that we're
That's awesome. And I think one of the big ones for coaches and officials, trainers, and that to be on the same page is when there is injury or concussion. So coaches need to have, myself, I've done the SASMA concussion management certificate. So it's important that coaches and trainers and officials are all across that, because you don't want that divide on game day where a coach is going, I want him to go back on, or I want her to go back on, and you've got the trainer going, no, there are definite concussion symptoms there, and we can't have them go back on, because then it becomes like, a bit of tension in amongst the coach's box and things like that. So making sure everyone's on the same page there. So I reckon we're going to tick each for those as well. Judging and scoring. Officials, yep. And safety and compliance. Both, yep. That goes back again to like what we talked about with complying with like injuries and just general match day rules, how you address umpires, so making sure that both officials and coaches are complying with anything to do with safety and like rule management. Good work, guys. What we'll get you to do now, if you just want to jump onto AT 2.1 of So yeah, coach participants in sporting competition. If you want to go to AT 2.1 and just
82 and 1.
AT 2.1, so the first one in AT 2, first question, and then just there should be a box on your cloud assess.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you can
We
put
just
the
fill
answers
that
into.
out?
Yep. Give it a couple of minutes to do that, and then move on.
Oh, this one's got an extra one post competition analysis.
Post competition analysis. Alright, so who do you reckon? Post competition. So if you're a post pre-game analysing pre-game footage, stats, who do you reckon can charge of that?
Official.
Coach?
Bye.
That's okay. Usually you have, like, for me, I would have volunteers or assistant coaches that will essentially gather data or film the game, and they might have minds coaches that cut footage of like midfield, certain midfield structures that they need to be across, or like forwards are looking at forward entry, defending line coaches might be looking at positioning, spoils, things like that. So that's pretty cool as well. I really get amongst the analysis stuff. Thing like any data that you can provide your participants, or if you're a coach, your players, is super important for them to be able to see what they're doing and if they're in the correct position, things like that as well. So just move. I'll just give you a couple more minutes. So we all
Yeah.
done that. All right. So we'll just move on to AT 2.2. This is a good one because this is addressing different sports have different terminologies that they use. For example, in an AFL game, you have different kinds of umpires, don't you? You have like a umpire, goal umpire, a third umpire, and then you have an umpire in like the room that's watching playback footage. So for this one, I've done the first one, so the term for an AFL game is out on the floor. So not every other game has that same terminology. So basically what I want you to do on the whiteboard now is come up with three. You can use out on the floor
It
as
only
well.
says two.
Is it?
Yeah, it says there's two other unique terms that are used in your sport.
Yeah, so I've just come up with two then. The 18, 18.2. Oh, which unit are you looking at? Coach participants in sporting competition, 82. Yeah, so just find out too, it could be like boundary umpire, it could be goal umpire, it could be interchange steward, so someone that's monitoring who's coming on and off the ground, and then just give a quick definition of what that role is, what that terminology is in the team, whether it's an umpiring team or the actual playing team. Because AFL, there are a lot of different terminologies used compared to other sports in the world. Could be anything. There's lots of like timekeeper, water runner. What that terminology is, what is it? What is it? What do they actually do on the game day? Give you a couple more minutes, then we'll move on.
Can I say like water runner? So like making sure the players are like, wait, are we like doing it before the game or like during the game?
During the game.
Like so I can say water runner and then making sure the players on the field are
Hydrated?
hydrated. That way it prevents.
Yeah. And maybe you can talk about when are the water runners allowed on the oval? Is there a specific time they're not allowed in a specific area? That could potentially give away a free kick. So you know if the water runner essentially is inside 450 when the opposition team's having a shot on goal, that can give away a 25 or 50 metre penalty, whatever it is. So just talk a little bit about that. You know, they can be on the field to hydrate players, but it needs to be at a specific time. They can't run on different areas of the oval. Essentially, when the opposition are having a shot on goal, because they can incur a 25 metre penalty. So just getting a little bit, I guess, the definition or like a background on these specific terminologies.
What did I say for the last one? Coaching.
Both. Oh wait, no, yeah.
Wait, did you say both?
No, just
Coaches, just coaches. Done.
So what was another one you had for me?
Water runner.
Runner?
So like their role is to like make sure the players are on top of their fluids, and that they're hydrated, but also making sure that they're on the field at the appropriate and right times. So like not when a player on the other team is either on a set shot or something like that. Otherwise, there will be like a penalty, and the other team could get like a free kick or a 25-meter.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. Yes, what about you? Do you have another one?
Yeah, I did interchange still.
Yeah, and what's their role on a game day?
An official who monitors player substitutions during the game, making sure teams follow the interchange rules and don't exceed the allowed number of players on the field.
Yeah, cool. They actually have a really important job, don't they? You would hate to be like, it's the end of the game and you've exceeded your amount of rotations you think you have and you send someone
Wait, how
off.
many can you have?
I think might be capped at like 60 or 70. It might be 70 for the game.
Is that the same for like grand final?
Yeah.
Or is it different in finals?
It's the same for the whole year. So you have to kind of like manage your players.
Yeah.
Like the interchange steward has to manage like you see sometimes where someone kicks a goal, it might be like a small forward, but
Or you did it Frio, like it's like something happened with their interchange.
yeah,
They used to
yeah,
do
they
that.
exceeded the amount or
Yeah.
um,
There's a big thing about that.
yeah, two. You might have one person run off and two run on by accident if someone's not paying attention.
Yeah, I think that's what
And then,
happened.
yeah, you get extra players on the field. And do you know what? That can actually be full on if you have on for a certain amount of time. So if a player, you have an extra player on the ground for like a minute, you can actually lose a game. So yeah, so that interchange steward would be someone that's pretty much on edge for a lot of the game.
Yeah, so they have
making
all
sure,
their
like,
boards
everything's
and
going right.
everything, like holding it up.
Yeah,
And that.
yeah.
It's like a big thing.
Alright, we all done with
This is really
that next
Yeah.
question?
a max.
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to move on to communication systems now. So as we know, in football, communication is key. So if you're not communicating, coaches not communicating, players not communicating, no one's on the same page, it can then become a pretty unraveled experience for everyone. So different sports have different communication systems in competitions in relation to coaches, for example, headsets, runners, half times, timeouts. How do coaches communicate with their players during competition in your specific sport? So, for example, like we all see sometimes coaches in the coaches box, sometimes they're down at ground level. For example, if a coach is up in the coaching box, how does he communicate to a player that's out on the
They
field?
have like other trainers and stuff. Do they not? Like yeah, they're runners.
Runners?
They have those like phones to
Yeah.
talk to people on the bench, like players on the bench.
Yeah.
But most of the time the coaches are down at the
Yeah, on the bench.
bench.
So do you see when they like pan sometimes when you're watching it on TV they pan and there's several coaches sitting at the back of the bench, they've all got headsets on and then you look up and the
They've
coaches
all got
box,
their
there's
boards
like
and stuff.
there's 10 different guys, 10 different assistant coaches up in the coaches box. So that communication. So let's look at essentially first how does a message get directly out from the interchange bench to a player? Who gives that information out? Yep. So that
Yeah.
could be the first one. So jump into 82.3 for me.
Is that yeah? That's so do we say number one players?
Yep. So you could say essentially maybe like players out in the field receive messages from the runner. The runner's usually in high vis green. So they're getting the message out that needs to be, or relaying the information that needs to be relayed to certain players on the field.
Wait, players out on the field receive messages from the runner in high-vis green.
Yeah. And it might be just a simple instruction, might be tactical, it might be that information coming out is for the whole defensive unit. You know, you need to switch, you need to play on him, you need to play on him. You you guys aren't setting up correctly, get your setups right behind the football and things like that. So all important information. So the other part is, when can a coach directly talk to his players? Like at what point of the game? Yeah, spot on. Alright, so you can say, let's look at during interval breaks, so quarter time, half time, 3/4 time. Yeah,
Wait,
so this is another one.
2 assistant coach. Is that what we're doing?
So we're doing now, how can the coaches directly talk to their players? So at what times of the game can they directly talk to their players? Sometimes, like me and myself being a coach, you feel pretty helpless at times. You can see things are going on, and it's like, how can I get that message out like ASAP to correct something that you can see is not happening?
I just said that during the change, like the coach can get control their player, like often control this person.
Yeah.
So then when they go onto the field, like they just let them know.
Player to player. Yeah, that's spot on. That's a great way to do it as well.
Coaches can talk to the team during the breaks, like half time. 2.
To get across the information needed to potentially fix a structure or change a matchup.
To get across, wait, what?
Specific information.
Yeah.
For example, get your structures set up well or quicker, or be more proactive with structures, or we need to change a matchup straight away because it's not working. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's the thing as well, like runners have a pretty important job. They need to be fully educated on the game plan as well, because they may be seeing something that needs to be addressed straight away, and they can go out and address it. It might be you roll up behind the football, it's not happening quick enough, you're very reactive, you're a little more proactive, and roll up straight away. So if they can see those things as well, you don't have to have that line of communication. By the time it goes back up to the coach, this is what I see, and then comes back down, 2 minutes has passed, and you haven't actually corrected the issue. So the runners understanding and knowing the game plan is pretty important too.
Personally, my coach is very vocal. I can hear him from the other side of your room most of the time.
Yeah, I'm a pretty vocal coach
Yeah.
as well.
Push back, push back. You just hear it, like, I'm like, okay, push back, push back.
So what's the third one, girls? We need one more. I reckon Yana had a really good one in there.
What was your one?
Player to player. So players, if the coach is down, coaching on the
Wait.
sideline.
Player to player.
Yeah.
So,
The coach is down on interchange bench, provides information to a player, and the player runs straight back out and relays that information to his teammates. Is a quick way to do it as well.
It could be like, especially if it's like a back player, you want to
Yeah.
get to all the back players.
Yeah.
It's a good way to just like, show them, or when you're around them, push them back to them.
Yeah.
And what gives information to
That's
the
really good. And it's about, like, as a coach, me being a coach person, it's about how can I get that information there as quickly as I can. What's the quickest way I can get it out there? Is opposition having a shot inside full 50? I can't send my runner in there because he'll give away a penalty, but I can interchange a player with that information so he can go back inside 50 and give the information straight away.
wait, players say that if the coach is down on interchange bench and gives information to a player,
Yeah, they can go straight out onto field.
go,
Yeah. And then and at the end, that player would be best if they needed to tell whole group of people the same information.
Yeah,
field.
and provide the information to his teammate, his or her teammate. Good.
That was stressful. Yeah.
more, we're looking at different risks and how we can minimise those risks. So in a competition, so the first one is the facility risk. So how can we minimise, say, you aren't a really good, your facility, essentially having too many people in your facility or too many people crowding around the interchange gates or where people are going to run out into the oval. Like, how can we minimise that? We put up signage to say, please keep area clear, as players will be entering the field from this point. So that's, a way to
Like
minimise.
stay clear in between games.
Yeah.
Oh, also, boundary. What are they called? What's it called again? It's like the people that wear the vest that like finish the ball.
Oh yeah, game day shields, like
Big round.
Ground Marshal. Yeah, that's the one. Ground Marshal. So employing a Ground Marshal to make sure everything around the facility and players entering the field and spectators watching around the ground. You know how sometimes in finals the Ground Marshal come around if you're sitting over the other side of the fence, you tell you to sit back on the other side of the fence because it's actually adhering to the policy and procedures of the ground, like to make sure any spectator watching is behind the fence. Equipment risk. So how can we minimise risk when it comes to equipment?
Like a list.
So potentially if you're looking at safety gear, so testing, making sure all equipment's tested before you use it. At least that way, let's grab a piece of equipment, football for example. Could be like you need an air horn.
Yeah.
Just making sure that's being tested and working correctly, and it's not gonna, the horn's not going to blow up or anything like that. Making sure you're testing all equipment. Rebound nets, making sure they're securely attached to the frame and things aren't going to fly off and cause an injury to a player.
Can I say like first aid kits, like to make sure that they are full everything needed and that any like important life support systems are nearby.
Wait, what did you
That's
say?
fantastic.
What did we say for facility risk again?
So making sure we have the correct signage, could be like bunting. We've gone around and assessed the facilities, make sure everything's in working order. Anything that could be a hazard or could be deemed to cause risk to players and spectators that we're
Wait, so
made aware.
facility to make sure the facilities have
Adequately
baseball
AD, EQ, adequately. Prepared pre-competition. I'm going to say this may include things like signage, bunting,
prepared.
pre-competition.
And that environmental risk. Is that like weather and stuff?
Yeah.
Like,
So it might just be like monitoring weather pre-competition.
weather.
Yep, pre-competition. It could be just you go and do a walk of the oval pre-game to make sure there's no holes. I've had to do it in the past where all the Corellas down at Aldinga are on the oval and they spend all week there and they all peck it at the oval and they leave big holes in the ground, so making sure your playing environment is up to standard. So I used to have to go around with a wheelbarrow and a shovel and like shovel the sand, put them in the holes and press them in to make sure there was no risk to players like rolling angles or like severe injuries and things like that. That was awesome. Some really good input there, guys, and gives you some knowledge from your experience of like playing football in competitions as well. And that's a lot of it. A lot of it you draw from your own experiences and your own knowledge of obviously being involved in the game for a long time. So, what we'll do is take a quick break, and then we'll come back in for the next bit where we're looking at our session plans for our practical session. Thanks, guys.